Alright, hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. And welcome to Pariah vs. Chat, episode 3. It's been a minute since we've done it. Like I said, I've been kind of busy, but is what it is. Here we go. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. Since the last time we've really just kind of chilled out and spoke like this, I've done asked a few questions on the community tab of my YouTube channel. Had a few polls and everything, so let's kind of talk about those things. About a week ago, I asked what preamp pedals that you guys would like to see on the channel next. And the winner, by a nice little majority, happily to me, because this is the one that I want to check out most myself, is the Clerton Grindstein, one of those two things. But yeah, so for those of you that aren't aware, it is a preamp pedal that's designed for death metal, which apparently death metal is the second most popular genre of metal here on my channel, so maybe you guys will appreciate some of this stuff. But yeah, the Grindstein is meant to let you get both rectifier tones and those chainsaw death metal tones in one pedal. You can kind of blend it in and out. So I'm kind of curious to try that. I haven't never tried one of the chainsaw pedals in the first place, so I think the Grindstein is going to be a nice little introduction to that. Y'all are also interested in seeing the Bogner Ecstasy Red and the 2 Notes Le Lead, so I'll check those at some point. The 2 Notes Le Lead, I haven't heard, the demos that I've heard on it have not sounded great to me, but hey, of course, I'm a believer that sometimes you do just have to try these things yourselves and have multiple sources. So I will one day become one of those sources for you guys. But it's not the next thing that's coming. Next I asked you guys, like I said, about which genres of metal that you guys like the most. Progressive Metal won. What do you know? That's the genre that I voted for myself as well. So once again, it's nice to be on the same page as you guys. Like I said, I voted for the Grindstein, that won. I voted for Progressive Metal, that won. But again, death metal is right behind it. So death metal, I don't think I'm like a traditional death metal fan in that I don't listen to pretty much any music that does that the chainsaw thing. But then again, I'm not a huge deathcore fan or anything in the first place. But I would like to get into some of that stuff, and just give it a try. Feel free to recommend some of your favorite death metal songs and albums down in the comment section, and I will give them a listen. When I think death metal and something that I listen to, I tend to think older In Flames. So I guess the melodic death metal type of stuff. In Flames was really, really good. And I kind of think of older Scar Symmetry as well, but they're more so of a progressive death metal type of deal. And yeah, there's plenty of progressive death metal I like Opeth, the older Opeth stuff, but even the newer Opeth stuff is great too. And I cannot remember the name of that band, but that album, Where Owls Know My Name, that was one of the best albums that I've ever listened to. Yeah. And funnily enough, Gent is the lowest selected one up here, which is cool with me. Like I said, I like all these genres, but Gent being the lowest is kind of interesting. Like I said, I think that some people kind of shy away from my channel because they think that all I do is play Gent all day because all I play is 7 and 8 string guitars, and that's not the case. As y'all know, I'll be quick to rip out a freaking Kansas lick, Megadeth, some Metallica, Pantera, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I am a progressive metal and Gent fan as well. And I think my writing does tend to lean towards progressive stuff. But I think there's quite a bit of thrash influence in there as well. Let's get to you guys' questions. Sir Baselot asks, do you aim for one subgenre when writing and when you're in a band, or do you just see what happens? Okay, so when I'm writing on my own, I definitely just see what happens. I just go for whatever. I feel like I have a style of riff writing, and I just go for things that kind of make sense to my mind and my fingers and is something that I want to hear. And like I said, because I like so many genres, it sometimes ends up all over the place. And that's totally fine to me. To me, that is what the idea of progressive metal and rock or whatever playing is that there's not really any limits. Ultimately, in my mind, if I write it, it sounds like me, it might be more so influenced by a certain genre or guitar player or something, but at the end of the day, I wrote it. So that is indicative of me. Now, when it comes to writing for a band, so I'm in a band right now. The band's called Idle Souls. I'll have some links for that in the description. but I'm not the primary writer in that band. The other guitarist and even our drummer more recently has been writing a whole bunch of really, really great stuff. And I consider that to be very much a gent band where they focus primarily on the djenty riffs and very ambient stuff in the background. That tends to be like a focus on the writing over there, which is fine. But to me, yeah, it tends to be kind of not necessarily limiting, but we write in something of a box, you know, and that's something that kind of doesn't gel with me too much. And I'm looking forward to kind of adding some of my own influence into some of the stuff that we do over there. But we'll see how that goes. All right, next, Cap'n K. I'm looking to get a new overdrive. I feel like my 808 can't get me to that super tight modern metal tone. Can you recommend me an alternate non-boutique overdrive? My setup is a Schecter JL7, Jeff Loomis, that's nice, with EMG 5566 to a Randall Diablo 20H. An alternate non-boutique overdrive for a super tight modern metal tone. Non-boutique. This is an interesting question. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure that at this point we consider all of the drives that I use as boutique overdrives, particularly the Eris Effect stuff. But that said, I feel like both Eris and the Highway Amplification Direwolf are fairly affordable. And I've seen a whole bunch of used parallel overdrives pop up recently. And if you can grab one of those, I think for sure that can get you to what you're looking for. But other than that, what comes to mind? I'm not sure. If you're looking to pick one up, you can hit me up and I can probably sell you something that you might really appreciate. Or, once again, I'm running a giveaway contest right now where you guys can just play me your best riffs and enter in to win either my parallel overdrive or one of the Eris Effects Tight Series pedals. All of those, I think, can get you what you're looking for as well. Just really cool pedals. Okay, Akram Fakhri. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I tried. I don't know if this has been asked before, but how long did it take you to play 7-string guitars from regular 6 strings? Okay, I think I told this story before, probably in that super long video I did talk about all of my guitars a little while ago. But so I had been playing guitars from about 10th grade is when I started, and then I bought my first 7-string my first year of college. So about 2 to 2.5, somewhere between 2 and 3 years between starting to play guitar, I picked up the 7-string. So realize I was a kid at the time, and when you're a kid, when you really like something, you can just dive into it, and you have plenty of time and all that sort of stuff. So I played a lot of guitar, and I progressed very, very far in terms of what I wanted to do in those first 2 to 3 years of playing guitar. And for me, that 7-string, which is this guitar right here. Like I said, this is the first guitar that I bought with my own money. It was my first 7-string, and it was the nicest guitar I'd had up until that point. I still love this guitar. But yeah, anyway, it didn't take me long at all to acclimate to it. So part of the reason why I bought it was A, for Jeff Loomis. I was a huge Jeff Loomis fan. But B, I'd always been kind of against tuning down the guitar. It felt weird to me. I barely wanted to do drop D stuff. I don't know what it was, but something just said, no, I want to play in E standard and just keep it that way. Probably because I also liked like the Iron Maiden and the Ozzy Osbourne, all that sort of stuff. So when I started to see the drop C's and drop B's and everything, I was like, man, that does not appeal to me. But then a 7-string, I can just leave it tuned normally and I have a whole nother string down there. That was my thought process at the time, and I still feel that way. Y'all, like I said, I play a bunch of riffs and songs from different bands and stuff from all over, from just old stuff. And I play it on my 7 or 8 string. I'll pick up my 8 string and play Kansas and have no issue with that. Now, because most 8 strings have a longer scale length and everything, that standard tuned stuff might not be super comfortable to play. But again, that's why I don't prefer those super long scale guitars. My Black Hat has a 25.5 to a 27-inch scale, just like my Skirvison 7-string. I think it's perfect because I don't tune down very low. I'm pretty much always in half step down, and then on 8 string, I will drop that lowest string. So I have a drop tune thing down there, like Toast Nabasi does. But yeah, to sum up, it didn't take me very long at all to get used to a 7-string because I was mostly playing 6-string stuff, and then I would just, kind of play around with the 7th string, and eventually it just felt normal, Like, I just treated my 7-string like a 6-string for quite a while, but then eventually, when I wanted to explore the 7th string, there it was. And I thought it was super easy. Now, 8-string, it did take me a while to get into. And actually going to that tuning, the Toast Nabasi tune, well, it's not his tuning, but he's the one that turned me onto it, where he just dropped that lowest string. That was a huge deal to help me make the 8th string make sense. Cause, and I think I would recommend that to someone who's having an issue with the 7th string. Just play in standard 6th string tuning and then drop the 7th string. Cause then at that point it's like, okay, I have a drop D, well, a drop style tuning on the lowest strings. And that just gives you one more interesting option to play with. Whereas when I had an 8th string tuned in standard, it was just like, okay, I feel like I just have a lower string here and it's not really doing anything for me. It didn't inspire me in any type of way. But yeah, that's my advice. J. Cruz, you once did a video where you talked about all your guitars and your guitar journey. Would you consider doing something similar for amps? Yes. I think I can do that now. It's kind of interesting because because I'm left-handed, partially because I'm left-handed, I've had way more guitar amps than I have guitars. And I have to go back and think about all those cheap little practice amps and stuff that I had. I'll do my best, but yes, I think that is a video that I'll do one day. Peter Machado, I'm sorry, who inspired you to start playing the guitar? So, interestingly enough, I was most inspired to pick up the guitar because I got big into Guitar Hero. I think I played Guitar Hero 2 at like a friend's house one time. And then eventually my mom got us Guitar Hero 3 for the PS2. And I got like fairly good at it. You know, play on expert and all that sort of stuff. And I remember the first time I like heard Through the Fire and Flames, I was like, this is impossible. And I played it, and then eventually I did actually beat that song. I was like, this is tight. I should just play guitar. And that's exactly what I did. While I was playing Guitar Hero, I got really turned on to, I remember Guitar Hero 2, it was like Sweet Home Alabama. I think Freebird was in Guitar Hero 2 as well. I could be wrong there. But Guitar Hero 3, stuff like Cliffs of Dover, One by Metallica, The Number of the Beast, My Curse by Killswitch Engage, that was a big one. So at the time, I was very much into listening to the 80s stuff, like the older Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, that type of stuff, and then the thrash stuff. I was not a fan of music that had screaming or harsh vocals in it. But then I heard My Curse through Guitar Hero 3, and I was like, whoa, that's some of the most beautiful singing I've ever heard, along with all this freaking screaming and stuff. And that was when it clicked to me that, oh, screaming is a rhythmic and an aggression-based device. So it's like, yeah, no, he's not singing, but there's interesting things happening in the rhythm of what's happening when he's screaming. And also, yeah, it's adding aggression to the music. And from that point, it's like, okay, a whole new world of music was open to me. I was like, okay, this is tight. So yes, more than any specific artist, it was the fact that I was just playing Guitar Hero that got me into playing guitar. But that said, soon after I started playing guitar, I became aware of people like Paul Gilbert, Vinnie Moore, those 80s hair metal dudes that were doing those guitar instructional videos, and that had a huge impact on me. It got me interested to learning scales and just getting my technique up to par. So yeah, but that said, I think my favorite guitar players for a long time early on was like Randy Rhoads and Dave Mustaine and Marty Friedman. Yeah, for sure. That's of course changed over time, but those were some huge guys for me. Lester Falcon, are you going to keep uploading Kemper profiles? I'm new in the Kemper stuff, so I'm making my own search. Cheers. Yes, man, I absolutely am. I'm going to take this weekend to profile at least my Rev Generator 740. I've actually already done it, but I'm going to go back and do it again, go through the process again. I'm not a fan of the Kemper's interface and some of the process that you have to go through to make these profiles. Sometimes it seems like I'll make something and then it'll disappear and I'll do it again. So that process isn't terribly fast for me. And honestly, although I think the Kemper stuff sounds really great, like awesome. Like I said, when I profiled my DA20, I think those profiles are very accurate and it sounds really great. The reason that I am most excited about the Quad Cortex is just I just want a better interface to perform those captures. But yes, I am definitely going to make Kemper profiles of all of the amps that I still have here, except for maybe the Grandmeister 36. I may just end up selling that before the Quad Cortex gets here. So yes, you can expect a new profile soon. J. Cruz, what piece of gear was the biggest disappointment for you? Y'all already know the answer to this. What piece of gear surprised you the most? Do you have other hobbies or interests? The gear that was the biggest disappointment to me was very easily, and it's the only one that comes to mind. It's literally the only thing that comes to mind, was the Apex preamp. Some people think that I was too harsh on that. That video is still up. It gets plenty of likes and dislikes, but as I listen back to it, it was not my best sounding video, and I feel a little bad about that. But at the same time, I've done plenty of videos on the Apex preamp, and my opinion that it sounds terrible as a preamp pedal has absolutely not changed. It sounds decent as a distortion pedal into a clean channel, but as a preamp, like into a effects return or direct to interface, absolutely not. There's much cheaper equipment that I would definitely choose over that. Nothing has disappointed me like that piece of gear, and my expectation wasn't even that high. It was just like, you know, I hope that this is good, and I just felt like that thing was terrible. It's like, man, just get an EVH 5150 overdrive if you like that type of sound, and you're good to go. What piece of gear surprised you the most? That's a tough one. I think I want to say the Dover DA20. Probably just because I'm still so impressed with it, you know? Like, it's a mini head. Like, I've heard mini heads sound, you know, all right, but they were never quite what I was hoping for out of like bigger heads. And I particularly think about the 5153 LBX, like that lunchbox head. So the 5150, the EVH 5153 amps are some of my favorite amps of all time. I had the combo version of one of those for quite a while, and it just sounds super great. The LBX, it doesn't sound bad, but it's not the same amp to my ears. Like, it's not quite the same thing. And to me, at the time at least, that meant, oh, lunchbox head's not great. That's not true, obviously. But both the Dover and the Fort and Sigil really solidified that for me. Like, these little amps are, like I said, this is a keeper amp. It's not going anywhere unless I decide to get the DA50 or something. But it just keeps up with everything else. It's really, really great. So right now, that's what I would say. Other than that, maybe my custom Agile that I had, I've sold it now, but that was a really, really great guitar, like top to bottom, and it was like $1,000 guitar for me to customize it. And it just sounded and played really, really nicely. Agile in general makes really great guitars. And the third part of the question, do you have any other hobbies or interests? Yes, I do, and I was actually about to ask you guys something about this. So I'm a pretty big video gamer. I'm a huge video gamer. I love to play video games. But most people do nowadays, you know? And this whole time I've partially thought about how to implement like some video game content into the channel, and if I should. Let me know what you think about that. But in particular, I'm a fighting game player. And fighting games is a pretty like niche community where there is a whole community based around it, the FGC, or fighting game community. And I consider myself a member of that community. I'm a diamond ranked Natch player in Street Fighter V. Play stuff like Grand Blue Fantasy versus Tekken. I suck at Tekken though. But yeah, I'm really big into video games, and fighting games in particular I really, really love. And yeah, I think that's all the questions that we had here. So other than that, I just have a couple of updates for you. So as you saw, I just posted the fact that I have the Moore GE300 Lite, G300 Lite, yeah, that's here. My friend Larry Ivy, who has a YouTube channel of his own that he's starting up, you should go follow him if you like. I just traded him my Digitech whammy pedal plus some cash for his Boss GE 1000 core. I think he's working on a video for that device right now, so like I said, I'll have a link to his channel in my description, so you can go check that out if you like. Tell him I sent you. And yeah, I also just went ahead and purchased a Headrush gig board. So as far as I can tell, by the time the quad cortex get here, we're gonna have everything. We're gonna be able to look at all of this stuff compared to each other. Yes, of course, I'm gonna still specifically do a Kemper versus quad cortex thing. Rabia just did one. A whole bunch of people are doing them. I'm slightly salty about the fact that so many people have them and we don't even have a date yet. But whatever, it's cool. I am going to do my metal focus one, but just between the quad cortex and the Kemper. But of course, we're gonna also just compare some of the best tones from each of these devices and any amp models that they have in common. So yeah, it's the Moore GE300, the Pod HD series, Line 6 HX Stomp, the Imperial 1, the Moore Preamp Live, Axe FX 3, Kemper, Quad Cortex, Headrush gig board. Unless I counted something twice, that's like, what, 8? Somewhere between 8 to 10 modelers. Oh, and I forgot the Boss GT 1000 core. So it's gonna be about 10 devices. And yeah, is that overkill? Absolutely. Am I gonna have fun doing it? You damn right. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I hope you guys are doing exceptionally well today, and anybody that's still here, I really, really appreciate you. But once again, I really do want to encourage you all to enter my little riff competition. If we don't get like 10 entrants, I'm just probably going to extend the due date, and then we'll push it out some more until we get at least that many. But yeah, you guys take care. Oh, I forgot something. Man, I commented on Leon Todd's video the other day where he was talking with Ryan from Scythe Studios about the NAMM 2021 lineup. They commented and made me feel that they have watched my videos. And I'm like, what? This is a thing? I am entirely too small for this. So I had to like get my fanboy mode in check, but I only did that after I already posted my comment, so you know, it's cool. It's kind of funny. So like I said, as y'all know, I'm a huge nerd, but I consider myself, you know, a fairly cool nerd. I can like turn it off. But at that moment I was like, oh shit, senpai's noticed me. And yeah, so that's really cool. I would really, really love to talk with or work with either of those dudes. I've been following Ryan at Scythe for forever because I mean, I'm more metal focused. But as soon as I found Leon's stuff, of course I became interested in that. He does plenty of metal and high gain stuff too. But he's just, you know, a more talented guitar player than I am because he plays way more than metal. But yeah, just want to share that with you guys. But yeah, you guys take care.